Hey everyone, Dr. Erik here from Med Better Health, where we talk all things dementia. I want to start off today with a story that's a true story. You know, there was a situation where an elderly individual had a diagnosis of dementia, and that individual was driving a car, and it was late at night, and it was dark, and he was on a highway, and he was driving one way, and a family, a father, a mom, and 3 of their kids were driving the opposite way. The gentleman with dementia was not able to process the information properly, and what ended up happening was that he went on the wrong lane of the highway, and it was a head-to-head collision. Everyone in that accident, including the 3 kids in the back, unfortunately, passed away. Now, I want you to think about that. You're listening to this story right now. You're a caregiver. You're taking care of mom or dad or another person living with dementia. Has this been a concern for you? Have you thought about that? Hey, mom has mild, moderate dementia. I'm not really sure. Is it safe for her to drive? That's a question I get asked all the time. And in today's session, we're going to go through the details together. Are you ready? Let's go. So, the collision of independence and cognitive decline. Let's look at this together. What families see? The physical ability to drive. You look at someone, you're like, look, they know how to start a car. They know how to press on the gas. You know, it looks fine to me. But really, if you dig deeper, what dementia changes is actually the cognitive ability to process. Dementia, very often, when it comes to driving, it destroys judgment, attention, reaction time, and spatial awareness. Right? Think about that. So, if we go down and we start evaluating, I want you to think about it this way. Driving safety is not a single skill. There are multiple skills involved in safely driving. Number 1, think about it, memory. Number 2, visual-spatial orientation. Number 3, executive function. Number 4, reaction time. Right? Reaction time is very important. And then number 5 is actual insight. All of those combined, that is what makes safe driving. It's not just one thing, but it's all of these things combined. So when we look at it, safe driving is not about whether someone wants to drive or tries hard to be safe, but it's about whether the brain can process a fast and unpredictable environment. And that is huge. So let's take a look. If you're a caregiver and you're listening to this, I want you to comment below. How many of you have spoken to your loved one and you've mentioned to them that I don't think it's safe for you, Dad, to drive? And how many times has Dad said, what are you talking about, Samantha? I'm perfectly fine. I can drive. And you're thinking, man, I don't think that's really reality. Well, there's actually a word for that, and it's called anosognosia. What does that mean? What does anosognosia mean? And it's important for you listening to know the definition. Some people genuinely cannot recognize that they have a cognitive impairment because they have physical brain changes. They're not denying it. No. In their world, they think they're okay. It's the brain damage that's causing them not to recognize that they actually have a problem. When they say, I drive fine, they usually believe it. The disease has damaged their brain's ability to actually self-check the reality of it. So don't get upset. Don't say every time I talk to mom, I tell her she shouldn't drive, she just doesn't get it. The reason she doesn't get it is because of anosognosia. All right? And I want you to remember that. Now, this is a great thing that we've really created for you folks and will be really, really helpful. And just like the traffic light, we have green, yellow, and red. Right? And I want you to think in these categories when you're evaluating the safety of your loved ones to drive. Number 1, If it's green, if there's no red flags, normal age-related driving, just caution, right? There's nothing going on. However, if you start noticing dad or mom are drifting lanes, driving a little bit too slow, right? It's 50 and they're driving 15 or 20, right? That's a little issue, right? They're getting tickets all of a sudden. They were great drivers, and all of a sudden they're getting new tickets that are coming on. They want to merge from one lane to the other, and they feel a little uncomfortable, and you see the cars going beep, 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 and they're trying to like squeeze, and like, wow, that never happened before. That's yellow. And we'll talk about what to do when you're in the yellow category. What about if you're in the red? And yellow means evaluate, and we'll talk about how you evaluate, okay? Red is stop and act. What's red? Well, let's take a look. Confusing the gas and brake. Interesting. Running red lights or stop signs. Dad, you missed the stop sign. Oh, really? I didn't see. And it's over and over again. You missed the red light. Oh, I didn't see. You got to be careful. Those are the first signs, right? New and unexplained vehicle damage. Scratches, little dents on the cars that were never there before, right? Getting lost in familiar routes. Dad went to the same shopping plaza over and over, and now he calls you. He's like, honey, I got lost. I'm not sure where I'm at. Right? That's an issue. And crashes or near misses. What I want you to really take away from this is, what does this translate to you? Do not wait for serious crashes or situations. The risk is real. Everyday red flags. The second you see a red flag, the second you see one of these guys, I want you to stop and act. Remember that. Stop and act. Okay? Now, I want you to comment below before we go forward. How many of you folks feel this is something that's going on right now in your family? And how many of you would love to speak to someone or to have someone guide you to better understand who can you turn to? Comment below. Because if that's you, you can benefit from a new Medicare program called the Guide Model. The Guide Model is a new program specifically designed for you, the caregivers. And you see what I'm doing right now, giving you resources, giving you this education. You don't get that in a doctor's office because doctor's offices are not designed for that. So Medicare designed a new program called the Guide Model, which my organization, Med Better Health, is one of the leading organizations to provide that to you, the caregiver. So if you're interested in learning more, comment below. Please reach out to me, right? Interested. Let us know. We will reach out to you and help you figure out, how do I get my dad tested for driving? Where do I go? Who do I turn to, right? We can help you with that, among other incredible things in the Guide Model. Now, let's look at the driving decision matrix. Guys, this is one of the most important slides. I want you to look at it. This is how I want you to think. All right, I want you to think in this matrix. Risk level. Low concern means no incidents. Caregiver has no concerns. You don't do anything. You just start an early conversation, right? Hey, Dad, what's going to ever happen when you get older? What do you think we should do, right, about your driving? What are your thoughts, right? Just have an early conversation. What about moderate concern? What does it mean? You start noticing slower reactions, difficulty in complex traffic. We talked about this. Getting lost in familiar areas. You have to, A, talk to the doctor, and also consider a formal driving evaluation. And here at the Guide Model, we actually help link you to the proper organization. If you're part of our program, we help link you to the proper organization who can help you get that driving test set up. Because it could literally be the difference between life and death, as the story that I mentioned in the beginning of our session today. Now, high concern. You start noticing dents, tickets, as I mentioned, trouble merging, trouble with red lights or stop signs, getting lost. That's when you got to pause. You can't, okay, let's wait 3 months until he gets a driving evaluation. You're not going to do that because you know that's something you can't afford to lose. There are certain decisions that I've talked about that are one-way door decisions. Once you make that decision, the door, you can't go back. And once Dad takes that wheel and he starts driving, and you already saw the flags over here of concern, boom, there's an accident. Could be horrendous outcome. So you pause the driving until you're evaluated. You talk to your doctor, and you get an official training, official evaluation for Dad on driving, officially. Now, Where's the immediate danger? Crash, confusing, gas and brake, running red lights. That's when you stop. You take it. There may be World War III in your home, right? But I'd rather have, a World War III with my words rather than actually have, God forbid, a horrible situation where I need to say goodbye to my dad or my mom, right? And so stop driving immediately. Remove vehicle access. If you want to get him tested, get him or her tested. That's also important so he understands why. It's not you. You're not the person who's saying that. It's actually a medical professional. It's actually a professional organization that says it's not safe. Don't be the bad person. You're not the evaluator. There are professionals who evaluate. You're just seeing the red flags, right? Now, the more dangerous the evidence, the less this is a family debate. Move from discussion to specific protocol. All right, and we help you with that in the guide model. So we talked about this, but I want to go through it a little bit more in detail. Start early, observe and document the changes, what incidents are happening. If there's red flags, bring in the doctor. Ask the primary care or neurologist to document these concerns. Then you request a formal evaluation, which includes, and this is important, vision, cognitive, and motor testings. Remember we talked about all those different factors that affect our driving, especially as we age or we have dementia, right? And usually there's an on-road assessment by, it's called OT driving rehab specialist. That is the gold standard. We want the best, right? The best car, the best house. But, well, you want the best to evaluate dad or mom or your loved one. How are they driving? And that's usually an OT driver rehab specialist. That's the gold standard. And you don't have to figure this out alone, like I mentioned, right? There are specialists who deal with this every single day. So when you talk to dad or mom or your person living with dementia, don't say, you're dangerously driving. This is a problem. You got to stop. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. Don't say, you can't drive anymore. Why are you being so stubborn? Remember, anosognosia. They don't think they have a problem. It's in here. You see it. Everyone sees it. They don't. They think they're okay. You're not going to win that debate. Trust me. I've been there. You're not going to win. The better frame is, I want you and other people to be safe, Dad. I understand where you're coming from. And use outside authority, right? It's not you. It's not the daughter. It's the outside authority. Let's get an objective evaluation. And if I'm wrong and they say you're okay, Dad, by all means, drive me everywhere. I'd love that, right? The doctor is helping us make the safest plan. That's what you want. The goal is not to win an argument or to prove them wrong. The goal is to protect safety while preserving their dignity and independence, okay? So we've talked about that. I want to mention a little bit about the guide model. I've mentioned it before. I hope you're finding this information really useful. And if you are, I want you to comment below that you are finding this useful. Because, like I mentioned before, not a lot of doctors' offices have the time to go through this. That's why Medicare in 2024 until 2032, it's an 8-year pilot, which I want you to take advantage of. If mom or dad or any person you love has a diagnosis of dementia, and if they have traditional Medicare, you, the caregiver, can get additional support. What type of support? Well, you see what I was doing right now with you? I was educating you. Well, imagine if you had that one-on-one with your personal concierge care navigator. That any question you have, I'm not sure how dad is driving. You call and that care navigator helps you find the right specialist in your area, guide you to the right protocols, helps you through talking to your dad and mom or your loved one about this situation. That's all covered now for free. You don't change your doctor, you don't change your insurance, you don't change your pharmacy. Everything stays the same and you get the benefit of your own personal concierge. Or what if it's 10 o'clock at night and dad is acting a little strange? Who are you going to call? Now, don't say Ghostbusters for those of you who are old enough to remember that, right? Who are you going to call? You're going to call a 24/7 support line that you have as part of our guide model. Med Better Health. You would call us and say, hey, dad's acting a little strange. Can you help me? I don't know what to do. Can you imagine having that resource at no cost, now covered by Medicare, specifically for you, the caregiver? And last but not least, you're probably exhausted. You probably have, those of you listening right now, and comment below, you probably have a family. You have work. You have responsibilities. You have friends. You have personal interests. You have kids that drive you crazy. I know mine drive me crazy, right? I have enough things here, and then I'm also trying to take care of my mom, my dad, my grandma, let's say, who has dementia. And sometimes I just need to catch a break. I just need to catch a break. And I'm thinking, man, what if, for example, Medicare would pay for me to catch a break? They would pay a private duty home care agency to come in, sit with my mom 4 hours every Sunday, say for like 18 weeks, because there's a specific number of hours that's allowed. And then I can go take care of me for those 18 Sundays. Or what if my mom was hospitalized and she comes from the hospital and it's a mess in the home, and I could have someone spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for a whole week, which is 40 hours, to be there in our house during that transition. How would that feel? Tell me. Comment below if you feel something like this would be helpful for you. If the answer is yes, it's very simple, guys. You're going to see a website right over here above, right? And also in the description, you're going to see the website. And I want you to go there. I want you to click on it. It's 5 minutes of your time. There's a video that actually describes what the guide model is in 5 minutes. It's perfect. Once you hear it, you will say, I'm more than confident, wow, I want to get started on this. You'll see the form below. It's an easy form. You fill it out. Someone from my team reaches out to you and helps you get onto this program, holds your hand along questions like this when it comes to driving and any other educational support. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you found value out of this content, do me a favor, subscribe. It's so important because the more you subscribe, the more people find out about these programs. Comment below. Definitely like the video. It's so important to us. And I look forward to creating more content like this for you to help all of the caregivers who are doing such an incredible job. I'll see you on the next video.